How you doing, Glenn? It's Essence again.
Hey.
From Georgia. I wanted to ask you if you could. A little bit ago, you said something about the extraterrestrial beings that are like taking people that they find worthy or something. I couldn't really hear what you said, but if you could please go over that, and also elaborate on who is Elohim and does he belong to the Anunnaki?
Okay. Got you. All right.
Yeah, so see, Elohim is just a title and a term that is used to describe these same beings that people are calling Anunnaki. It's just that that's coming from the Hebrew in terms of when you're reading the Bible and you have different names that are being used throughout. So you'll have El, right, which will be the being that's over the Elohim, right? So one person is referred to singularly as Elo, Eloh, and Elohim is the plural where it's more than one being, and the person that's over that group of people will be referred to as El, right? Who is like if you had a in a workplace you might have a team and then you have a manager that's over that team. So the Elohim is just another term referring to these beings that came from, from the skies down here as Anunnaki. Some will refer to them as the Netiru. Some cultures refer to them as the Anutu, the Ilus. There are many names: seraphim and cherubim, angels. These are all terms describing these beings that came here. So, in relation to the 144,000, this is talking about. Okay, so most of the time in the history of the planet, there gets to a point where life has to be restarted over again, either on the same planet where, it talks about beings were drowned and, through floods or wiped out, and then new beings started all over again, right? When the planet has got to a point, or certain situations have got to a point where the Natharu or the elders decide that, or even just through like the sun collapsing, when that sun that provides the life, the source of power and life on the planet, when that goes, because suns are fuel, right? And they burn out. They go through a process of being birthed, they live, and they also die, for lack of a better word. And when that happens, planets that are supported by that sun, they need to evacuate or find somewhere else to go and live if they know about the fuel, the hydrogen and the helium is going to run out, it's going to explode or something. So they prepare. This is what happened with the, Sirius C and the beings that had to evacuate to come here and to different parts of the different galaxies. So when it gets to that point, to see the new planet, you only need a certain amount of people to take away and see that new planet. So this number of 144,000 is a number that has been spoken of, where you would, the people that, it's like there's a series on Netflix, or even with what Mr. Elon Musk is trying to do to go and start life on Mars, right? They will select what they've been doing this for a long time, called a brain team. So they will look at, if we're going to start all over from scratch in a new planet, what would we need? We're going to need scientists, we're going to need engineers, we're going to need certain people with certain skills. And they will look at the amount of people required that have the skills. There's a series on Netflix called Salvation. If you haven't watched that, watch that. And this is the process they go through by checking you out. If you're on the list, they monitor you and make sure you don't have any diseases, you don't have certain problems that you can bring along with you to mess up that project. So it's a similar thing where this planet has been up for judgment, and it could have been destroyed many times, but because of Parnabab Yanun coming here and pleading and saying like, hold back the winds, right? If you go back to the book of Revelations and the teachings that he taught us many years ago, he's the one that's been pleading to say, there are people here worth saving. And I will take it personally as a responsibility to teach them to be upright, to be intelligent, to be worthy, to receive back their higher powers by receiving back their, what we call the barothry gland that was removed. All right, so he's teaching us all these 1,000 books, practices, rebuilding, teaching us how to live together, love and unity, care, and all that kind of stuff. And some people, with all that information, they still choose to live in sixth ether or in the image of the beast or behaving and acting like a barbarian. And so if you're going to, like I always use analogies that people can relate to, if you're going to build a business, a football team or whatever, you want the best people in the positions. So you want the best striker, the best goalkeeper, the best defenders, and so on. So it's not about just because you look good or because you belong to a religion that you're going to be picked. It's going to be based on your qualification in terms of many things like your heart seat, which we say ashuk, divine love or unconditional love for each other as well as sentient beings. Are you somebody that has made the grade in that sense? Like, are you using your mind? Are you elevating? You know, because this is a serious thing. So those beings, as is taught, will be taken away and they will be given their barothry gland. The update that we gave quite recently explains that those beings will be taken to a specific laboratory, and it was in the Antarctic, and they will get the operation done and they will receive their gland and in preparation to be taken away and may come back to save the planet. It all depends. I mean, things change all the time in terms of they have to make decisions based on the circumstances on the planet. So yes, that 144,000 is those beings that, you know, they would have, I can't think of a better word than made the grade. And that's transforming you from mortal to God, as he put it, you know, because mortals will die, only gods will survive, because you have to transform back. When I say God, I'm using that term loosely, even though it tells you in the religious books that you are God. And to be godlike is to be and live and do the things that these higher intelligent beings, like the Parnathara, were doing. This is what you are being taught by way of the scrolls and by way of Wu-Sabat. So I hope that's answered that question.